Now, we finished the first half of the program today, of this symposium, as we started, because the final say for now goes to City Commissioner and Mjärdevi Science Park Chairman Christian Gustavsson, again, now on the municipal perspective.
Thank you. So many wise things has been said from this stage this morning. My job is to explain why the taxpayers should pay the bill. Why should the taxpayers spend millions of Swedish crowns on supporting science parks? And the reason is actually quite simple. It gives us the possibilities and growth. And this is an image of, hopefully, the future of Linköping. Minus the bridge. We don't want the bridge. It creates possibilities. Our job as politicians is to create possibilities. Create possibilities for citizens, for businesses, and of course, hopefully also a few photo opportunities for us politicians. And the reason this is important is that the science parks drives growth. It creates growth. And the growth is important to the citizens. It's important to also the people who are not working. Because the jobs and the businesses are the ones funding the public welfare systems, funding the public schools. And this is, of course, important in a society. So the possibilities and the possibilities for growth is the reason that we are funding science parks, I believe, all over the world. Linköping has been in the forefront. A lot of people has talked about the fact that we are now on our 30th year of Mjärdevi Science Park. And the reason we've done all this is, of course, to create the area of exchange of people and ideas, get the right output from Linköping University, creating a foundation for economic, environmental and social sustainable growth. The economic growth has been in focus for a very long time, but we also remember that the science parks also creates a foundation for sustainable and environmental growth. Linköping is one of the cities in the world that are in the forefront also when it comes to green technology. Every city also wants, of course, a lot of research and development. It's important to the city, it's also important to the university, and this all comes together. And the science park also creates a platform for other businesses. For everyone making airplanes at Saab, there are other people getting their jobs at the restaurant or in the schools. So the science park is the driving force through all of this. But the science park, of course, doesn't create all these things themselves. Mjärdevi Science Park as a company is not the reason that we have or fund the science park. The reason for this is the brilliant minds. The brilliant minds of Linköping is why we are doing this. Because the brilliant minds of Linköping is the ones that are creating the new jobs, creating the airplanes at Saab, and in this case, Björn. That is the owner of Dataton, the big black box just down the road. If you have a possibility to visit it, please do. And every time I see Björn, I come to think of the old Apple commercial about the crazy ones. You remember it? Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are usually the ones who do. It's quite important to remember that, I believe. We've discussed previously today the key factors that makes a science park important. Someone mentioned the coffee machine, I think it was Jane. Michael talked about the free parking. I'm not sure I agree, though. Michael and I talked about parking yesterday. I might have woken him on this issue, unfortunately. But the most important thing is, of course, the other people that are around. And this is something that is not only important in a science park, but it is, of course, important in a city. Because the place we live is the place we usually want to work. It's the place where we want to go out for coffee with our friends. It's where we want to meet new people. It's where we are in Linköping creating new ideas. So this is also an important part of building the new city, building the new cities. Because we want the residences, we want the research and development, we want the science and the public, the service, public and commercial services. We want the basic education in our societies. And of course, and some also want the free parking. This builds the attraction of the city. It also is the attraction of the science park. And that is why we are, and many other science parks are discussing leaving the geography. This area is fantastic. It is. Many ideas have been created here. Many ideas have been developed here. But at the same time, we can also see that companies are moving out of Mjärdevi. And the reason for this is that this is a place where you only have one thing. You have businesses. And if you work late, you are the programmer that works better in the evening. You want some coffee, you want something to eat, and the risk is that you move. And this is, of course, a big challenge for us to create a place for businesses to do both of this. Both being in the center of other businesses, but also in the center of a society. And some of the companies, big companies, have been in the Mjärdevi Science Park also moved from here. But they are still important parts of our science park. And traditionally, we've had our borders. We don't step outside our borders, but we have to. We have to make sure that we are not just a science park, that we are supporting businesses in all parts of Linköping. And I think we often underestimate the importance of culture and recreation. Linköping is the place to go if you want to buy a fighter plane or make a fighter plane. If you have something that runs on electricity, we will program the shit out of it. But we are not at the moment the most exciting city when it comes to culture and recreation. Mjärdevi is not the place to go if you seek culture and recreation. We have an outside gym now. That's important. And this is why we have to get the city to come together. We are now doing this in a few different places. On the other side of the university, we are transforming Valbäcks, who's an old industrial park, to the new Valbäcks. Gunnar, I think you approve that I show this. That will become a place for growth and innovation on the other side of the university. And this is of course exciting because this is where we can do what we always wanted to do here. But we can do it there first because it's closer to the city. We can combine residential areas with businesses, with research, and I think one of the most important things that are coming to this area is the European Spallation Source later this year. But we want to make sure that it happens, that exciting things are happening right here as well. But to make that possible, we need to connect Linköping to Mjärdevi Science Park. And we're going to do that by Vallastaden, the new area that is being built on the other side of the road, connecting the university to Linköping, but also connecting Mjärdevi Science Park to Linköping and the university. And this makes it possible in the next step to also develop Mjärdevi as a more exciting science park and take Mjärdevi to the next step of science parks. Mjärdevi has been built during a lot of years. Then Gunnar has been a big important part of building Mjärdevi Science Park. It's the crown jewel of our market completion in Linköping. But we think it's important that we also now include Mjärdevi Science Park into Linköping and embrace the fact that this is perhaps one of the most important and exciting places in Linköping and in this region. Thank you so very much. And this is my contributions. Thank you.
Please stay put on stage.
Please stay put.
How large is Linköping now? How many people live there?
150 plus.
Yeah, and how much do you plan to grow?
Our plan is to grow to 200,000 in the first step.
Yeah, and what role do you think Mjärdevi Science Park will play in this?
I think that Mjärdevi will play a big part of it because a lot of things that we have learned during these years in Mjärdevi is now being used in different parts of Linköping. So even if Sten Gunnar is leaving Mjärdevi Science Park as a company, he will help us develop the rest of Linköping.